How is it going, Dragon Ballers? This is Random Man here, fresh off my top cut first place Invoker deck. We are bringing you set 11 deck profiles, the first of which is going to be SSB Gogeta, Prophet of Demise. This is probably my personal favorite deck coming out of set 11. I will not lie to you, it is not the most dominant deck coming out of set 11, but it's definitely a good mid-range for the format. And you can definitely find some really fun ways to break this with going a little bit more of a hyper-aggressive route if you so choose. So starting off with the leader, when this card attacks, add up to 1 life. You can choose 0, 1 life to your hand, and look at the top 7 cards of your deck. Among the top 7, you are going to grab 1 mono red extra card with an energy cost of 1. So we have plenty of targets in our deck. We usually don't whiff, but sometimes RNG can just happen. Second effect of this is auto once per turn. When you activate a Union skill, it does not say Union Fusion, it does not say Union Patara. Both are interchangeable, so if you want to get really creative, and I love creativity, you can definitely do a Union Patara version of this deck. If any of you do that, link me your deck profiles in the video. We can maybe go over it, have some fun untapped duels, and kind of see where it's going. I love that kind of stuff. And this is my favorite type of leader. Awaken, untap 2. You get to extend, or you get to fully use your energy and then awaken for defensive plays, which is kind of what we do more often with this deck. When we are awakened, we have inherent double strike. Double strike keyword on a leader is freaking awesome, especially when you attack and you gain 5k and draw 1 card. It's nuts. We're not losing any draw power for this effect, and we're actually gaining attack value. So we're going to 20k double strike on our leader. That's nuts. That can be a game ender in itself right there, applying enough pressure. We still have the same effect, auto once per turn. When you activate a Union skill, draw 1 card. So again, that is really, really clutch because you are going to be Union Fusioning probably every turn 3+. We do not run the Veku package in here. The Veku package, unfortunately, is just very, very fragile. It's very easily interrupted by counterplays. It could be very easily interrupted by certain negates. They do not have barrier, they do not have deflect, so it just kind of came out. We went for a little bit more consistency than some of those risky aggro plays. So first card we have, Gotenks, Earth Shattering Light. This card is fantastic. It's kind of the backbone Unison of our deck. Auto once per turn. When you activate a Union skill, interchangeable, add a marker to this card. So he goes from 2 to 3. 0 cost, activate main, draw a card. Probably going to be the early card, early effect that we use, like on turn 2, possibly 3, depending on what you have to set this up with. And then -5, activate main. This card gets 15k, double strike, and dual attack for the turn. This helps set up a lot of our finishes, and sometimes is our finish. So being able to apply that constant pressure in our 3-4 can be really, really good. Next up, we have Sin Shenron. We use him. The permanent is really good for, attacking active battle cards that may have barrier that could be used for setup. Lord Slug has a few wings. Bobbity for Agents of Destruction. Being able to attack into those is really, really good. So that's why we run him. But not just that. The +1, choose 2 of your opponent's battle cards and neg them by 15k, plays really, really well with what our deck does. So our 5-drop Gogeta is able to 15k neg the entire board. Paired with that, that's 30k on 2 cards. So very, very clutch for clearing boards and having to alleviate some of the aggro on your turn by dealing with it, on your opponent's turn by dealing with it on yours. Then we have our -2, activate main, look at your opponent's hand, choose 1 battle card with 25k power or less, and discard it. Pesky topos, maybe you want to get rid of some Trunks counterplays. Why? We'll see. Maybe there's, the Vegeta counterplay, you want to get rid of that. Aboonies, we don't want to deal with a bunch of attackers in 1 turn. We'd rather just, have the ability to just not deal with that. So plenty of good stuff that you can grab with that. And then of course it's 20k. So 20k is always going to be a threat, especially if you're able to attack some weenies on the board. Next up, After Image, we're playing 3. You know this card's good. It can, stop a triple attack from being a single strike in essence by just taking the 1 life, putting your leader up to 55k, and making it so they just don't want a combo. You can also use this in conjunction with our boss monster and a few other cards too. So it's really helpful because it doesn't turn off the combo period. It just makes it so your opponent basically says, okay, no combos, right? The consistency card of our deck is Birth of a Super Warrior. This card is really, really cool in the aspect that it can grab your cards that you need for Union Fusion from the deck or drop. You do have to choose deck or drop. You can't use a mixture, but it also summons them. So let's say if you really need to get through a board, or you're playing against Bulma, who's a 5k leader, and you want to apply early game pressure, you can just summon these right to the board with that. For 1 energy, you got 2 10k attackers. It's almost like the same thing as the Unison for Kiku, bringing out 2 vanillas. So it's pretty good with that. More often than not, though, we're using it to grab back our Union pieces, to use Union Fusion, and just kind of spam out our big guys. Next up, we have our vanillas, 3 and 3. So we play 4 of the extra, 3 on vanillas. Just in case one of them's in life, you want to be able to thin the deck as much as possible to grab your other key cards. 3, Wolfang Fist. This card is fantastic on turn 2. More often than not, I will tap out by playing my Gotenks Unison, only if I have about 2 of these in hand, which you can usually grab 1 off your leader effect on the first turn, maybe open 1, and then grab a second one off your leader on the turn 2. If I see Birth of a Super Warrior, it's usually going to be the card that I'm going to grab for turn 1. But if I already have it in hand, I'll try for these, and I'll keep them for the turn 2, protecting my Gotenks Unison. As it is free, we don't have to pay for it as long as we have a red Unison out. Doesn't matter how many markers, it's free. Next up, we have Gogeta, Preparing for Battle. This card is great in the fact that, yes, it can be paired with the Goku for a Union Fusion target, but it also allows us to kind of deal with a little bit of hand control or having to combo our Gogetas a little bit earlier. They are 5Ks, so sometimes you do need to combo them away to stop a critical attack from hitting you, and you don't want to deal with that. So this will grab it back from the drop, and if they do kill the Gogeta 6-drop, the 5-drop goes right back to the drop as well, because it stacks on top, and you can grab whichever one you're missing late game to do the Union Fusion again. We have Raditz, Saiyan Youth. If your life is at 4 or less, you're able to utilize this. So the worst thing about this card, unfortunately, is it is not an inherent 10k combo. You do have to be at 4 or less life, but everything else makes up for that. You can then take 1 card from your hand, put it at the bottom of your deck, and draw 2 cards. It's amazing for cycling out. Put a card you don't want in your hand at the bottom of the deck, draw 2 new cards. The draw power in this deck is already sick. With that, there's a lot of times I saw myself going to 8 or 9 cards in deck at the end of turn 4 or 5 because of how much this is drawing. So this super combo is just nuts in keeping that. This is our answer to Barrier. Truly, we do not have anything that really gets through Barrier aside from Wolfang Fist or Sin Shenron, allowing our stuff to attack active battle cards. Everything else in this deck says choose. So his first effect is right on par with that. Choose 20k battle cards or less and kill him. On the flip side, activate main, pay 2, choose one of your opponent's battle cards ignoring Barrier, gets negative 25k. That's where this really shines. If you're up against Invoker or another deck that has a pesky battle card with Barrier and you just really need to get through it, your boy is going to protect you with that. He's got you. He's got you covered on that one. Next up, Frieza, Imperial Inspiration. This card is amazing when you pair it up with our leader or our Gogeta fusions. Giving inherent leader crit and another 5k, who is already at 20k, that's 25k double crit on a leader swing for 1 energy. That's nuts. It's almost like you just chomp at him and he has crit, So this card is just amazing in that aspect. It also, if you're swinging with the Gogeta 6-drop, and they do not negate it, that is a 60k double strike crit essentially, because you're negating their leader card by 20k, putting that at -5 plus the 35 plus the 5 on top of that from this card. So it's just crazy value. 3 topo, we don't want to run 4 because you're not going to use it as much in the late game, or in the early game. It's really turns 2 and maybe 4, depending on what you do, where you can use it. I really only see myself using it twice per game. I have never really used it more than that. Gogeta, Fusion of the Gods. This is kind of the main guy to get to our boss. So 3 energy, Union Fusion. We're going to draw 2 cards, 1 more off of our leader. So essentially we're drawing 3 cards there. And it has a permanent. This card can't be KO'd. So Frieza counterplay doesn't do anything to this. Any of those KO things, don't worry about it. Your boy's safe. He is susceptible to being bounced to the hand, warped, or placed in the drop. Dredgeku, I'm looking at you, buddy. It's not very nice. Auto. If your leader card is red, when this card is played, choose up to 1 of your red Unison cards, add a marker to it, then choose all of your opponent's battle cards. They get 15k negative power for the turn. That paired up with Shinshanron, or, anything else that can kill all the Abuni tokens that are on the field if you're having to deal with that. So it's just really good. You then go straight into this bad boy. Free EX Evolve. You don't have to discard, you don't have to pay. If they trunks this back to your hand, you're going to have a great day, because he's just getting played right again. This card cannot be KO'd as well. It is an inherent double strike keyword. And when you evolve into this card, you can choose 1 of your Unison cards, give it 2 Unison markers. So if you play the 5-drop, and then this, your Unison Gotenks will be gaining 4 markers. 1 from his effect, 1 from the 5-drop, and 2 from this guy right here. When this card attacks, or one of your opponent's cards attacks, you may choose 1 of your opponent's battle cards. It loses 20k power for the turn. For the battle, and that is nuts. That's nuts in the fact that, like I said, this is inherently a 55k double strike attacker if you're using that effect on the leader, and if they're swinging with a Unison card, they lose a marker most likely, because I don't really think they're going to have a Unison that's higher than 20k swinging, and they'll lose any additional effects. So, Green Frieza that got crit, or Gotenks that got double strike and dual attack from Vegex, losing all that. So it's fantastic. Then we go into this bad boy. So if you've been clearing out your opponent's board, like this deck really does, you have the ability to play this on a follow-up turn, because our 6-drop says you cannot play battle cards for the rest of the turn after that. So this is for the follow-up. And it's also really good if you just need to swing at your entire board for your opponent and just clear everything out. If you've done that, and they wasted resource to try to kill you on the previous turn, then we go into our secret rare of choice, which is SS4 Broly, the Great Destroyer. You sack 1 of your 35Ks, that is a Saiyan. Of course, we have 7 technical targets right here. Put it in your battle area, and then you're able to play this card from your hand. Your leader then gets 10k until the end of your next turn. Start of your next turn, which is crazy, because if you just tapped out and you're really trying to go for a game, it's kind of a safety blanket. You have 25k on the pass, so your opponent is really having to combo up, which I don't think they're going to be able to do because of this bad boy's permanent effect. Leader, combo, battle power, all -5k. More often than not, they're not going to be able to combo anything. Their leader's going to be at 10k, you're at 25, and their battle cards are going to be -5. So unless they're swinging with something that's 30k, they're not going to be able to do anything without, comboing. So it's just crazy. That is the deck. I'm going to have a small video of the deck in action right after this, so stay tuned.